When you think about desktop virtualization or virtualization in general, you really have to look at the applications. And Dale mentioned that we have video, but real-time services like video and voice, they have different requirements than the traditional application store and forward type applications. And they're impacted in the architecture of VDI plus also the bandwidth. So obviously you have to look at where are the flows going. In a traditional VDI model, everything is back to a centralized data center. Well, unfortunately, when you're doing real-time services, whether it's voice or video teleconferencing type of calls, it really is point-to-point. So do you really want that traffic to go all the way back to the data center or not? So we have to work around that and come up with solutions to make that happen. Versus a knowledge-based or knowledge training video systems where they can be deployed and streamed from a centralized location. So you have to understand your traffic flows. You also have to understand that the impact of those real-time services in a VDI infrastructure compared to in the current model. And we're doing a lot of work with architectures and assessments on how we can make sure we give you the same user experience, whether it's email coming off of a virtualization application or these real-time services. When we looked at, from a Cisco point of view, we married it up closely with a telework user, and it just made sense, and that is one of the use cases where we felt pretty close. But you can also look at the highly secure user that, they don't want to have data sitting out where it shouldn't be. So I think the ROIs are different per use case. And the best way to start with the ROI is what is your cost, and how do you bring down your cost? Well, you look at the most efficient use of components of the solution. And as Dale said, most of the cost is going to be in the storage, but there's also a lot that's in the data center compute and RAM that you're going to be running these desktops on. The endpoints, I think Jim said they're $200 now for endpoints out there. If you're looking at a true a VDI infrastructure where it's a true thin or zero client. So you have to put all that together, and we do have some case studies I'm sure we have some, and Dale, I know you have some as well, that you can get the data points. But it really comes down to how much density can you get out of your infrastructure, right? And so, and I'll give you an example. With our new server platform, our UCS platform with one blade with the extended memory, we can get between 100 and 120 desktops on a single server. So you can see how that can play into your ROI, right? That one server covering up to 100 desktops flows very nicely into that equation, and I'm sure Dale has similar numbers on the storage piece of it. So you basically have to add all those up and then look at what you're paying that works for your ROI. If you look at our website, and we actually have what we call a Cisco validated design, where we are working with Citrix and we are working with NetApp. We actually have a validated design to lower your risk. Also gets into some of those numbers so you can get a better feel for, how do you size the storage, how do you size the compute power to help you get to that ROI with real world data. It's on, and that is a CVD that we all work together, all three companies work together to put that in. A lot of the risks end up, and I think Dale and Jim both brought up, is the bandwidth, right? You are taking a lot more down from the centralized location, and that might be fine in a campus, but when you're a soldier out in the field and you're trying to take this image down over a circuit that might only be, unfortunately, sub T1, you have issues. So we do a lot with compression, but it's something that if you don't in the pilot work through the end-to-end aspect of virtual desktop and virtual infrastructure, you'll find these areas of risk, and most of them deal with performance. Some of them deal with security, and it has to be looked at end-to-end. So absolutely look at the WAN that is connecting your sites. Where will those end users be is critical, and ensure that they have the same experience at the end. There will be delays. Obviously, physics will cause delay, but we can minimize those delays with some of the interesting things we do at the protocol level.